Hello, one and all. Welcome to Dad's Zen of Pop Culture and Alpha Flight Monday. I've been reviewing Alpha Flight from issue number 1, starting on January 1st of this year. Every Monday we look at a new issue. We're now up to issue 43, so we are in the final 10 issues that I'll be reviewing this year before I switch over to reviewing Justice League International in 2025. This one is called Strike Across the Border. That looks like the Strike Force Morituri font to me. Anybody out there know if I'm completely wrong here or if I'm right? Anyways, we have Sentinels, famous in the X-Men comics as these giant, almost invulnerable mutant hunting robots. Only in comic books do you get to talk about mutant hunting robots. And they are attacking North Star as Puck, Aurora, and Vindicator fight back. And we see the Canadian and American flags, because these things are American-made robots, and they really shouldn't be in Canada. We begin this story, written by Bill Mantlo, pencils David Ross, inks Whilce Portacio, letters Ken Bruzenak, colors Bob Sharon, editor Carl Potts, editor-in-chief Jim Shooter. We start in Yakima, Washington, at the Rainier Federal Correctional Facility, where the military apparently has a fellow by the name of Mesmero, who last appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 207, in this helmet that blocks his ability to use his powers, which we can guess involve mind control. And this doctor, Muramoto, is saying it's killing him. If a mutant can't use their powers, it will kill them. And of course, the soldiers are kind of like, yeah, well, that's terrible. Wouldn't want that to happen. So Mesmero is shrieking in pain and finally collapses. And Muramoto says, I told you. And so he rushes in. The soldiers don't want to let him. And he says, give me those keys. He takes the keys so he can unlock this helmet. Now, go get a stretcher and take him. Thank you, doctor, for being so gullible. He was playing possum. Put down your guns. They do. And escort me out of here. They obey. So he effects an escape in Washington using these soldiers. Whoop, there's our... And at that, the next day, we have a launch of Sentinel robots. This FBI agent has gone to Interdefense Monitoring Systems, who control these things, because he knows that they have some expertise in hunting down mutants, and he wants to capture Mesmero. It'll look good on the resume, or the Mesere, if you prefer. And but he's kind of going, I don't think this is a great idea, because these things could cause an international incident. This is technically an invasion from the United States into Canada. And she says, no, don't worry about it, because we got them in stealth mode. And Merle and Earl, who are out there sawing down trees, are like, I thought we just saw, what is going on here? So apparently it works. They don't see these giant robots, though presumably they would hear them, because they're operating using sort of like rockets. Hey, welcome to Comic Book Land. Meanwhile, on the Omnijet, Roger Box has gone nuts in the Box armor. And they're trying to calm him down. Well, they're trying to stop him and calm him down. And he's getting pretty violent. And so North Star, being the most sensitive member of Alpha Flight, yells at him, Box, this is madness. My sister wouldn't love you as man or machine. Why, you callous little creep. What would you know of real love? The idea was to calm him down, eh? Don't worry, Puck, I can handle. And at that, North Star starts coughing again. Now we saw that last issue. North Star's sick. There's something wrong with him. We don't know what it is yet. And Kara tries to defend him, and Box almost attacks her. Heather unleashes on him, takes him out, and brings him back to his right mind. She jumps out of this the Omnijet thing because pieces of it are falling on the road below, and she needs to try to stop that from happening or hurting anybody, and has to make a decision about, look, Alpha's going to have to figure things out on their own. I got to save this motorist while the Omnijet is crashing. And they do manage to save it. Jeffries transmutes the thing into having this giant sort of wheel, so it becomes a wheeled vehicle rather than an air vehicle. Again, very, very powerful, his ability to transmute machines. Similar to Forge, maybe a little bit too powerful when we're getting down to it. So back on board, Jeffries has also transmuted the Box robot so that Box can't hurt anybody anymore. And he starts heading for the New Life Clinic. Now, the New Life Clinic is, well, at least it employs his brother, who was known as Scramble. Now, when Scramble was insane, he could transmute flesh and bone the way Jeffries can transmute metal. He has regained his right mind, and even though he no longer has a license to practice medicine, he's been set up in this clinic to do research and to try to help people. So they show up, and Box is still he's kind of screwed up. I won't be experimented upon. There's nothing wrong with me. Au contraire, Box, you are ill in body and mind. Should I tell Scramble about the cough and weakness that has affected me since I was kissed by pestilence? No, that is my affair alone. We actually get the little asterisk, but we don't get an editor's note, but that would have been a few issues ago when they were dealing with the birth of Snowbird's baby. So he doesn't want to consent, but he's like, Box, would you like to be a man again, free from pain? So he decides to submit to treatment. Meanwhile, Mesmero in the back of a van heading up to Canada. The Sentinel robots, because they're in stealth mode, cannot track him unless he uses his power. So he shows up in Vancouver at Expo 86. Now you're going, whoa, hold on. This comic is from February of 87. Well, remember, the actual date that a comic book hits the stands is usually 2 or 3 months prior to the cover date. So this probably would have been out somewhere in like November, December of 86. It doesn't look like winter there, but still. And so he's at this big exhibition. Now the van's out of gas, finds his motorcycle, throws the helmet on, which is a good disguise, but reminds him of the helmet that he had on. And so he takes it back off. And this guy's like, hey, buddy, you okay? I am just fine now, and I shall remain that way so long as you forget you ever saw me. So he uses his powers. The Sentinels go into interception mode. Apparently they drop the stealth, and they key in on him. Now, that FBI agent has had some worries about this. So he contacted Sebastian Shaw, which X-Men readers will know as the Black King of the Hellfire Club. And he's like, yeah, this was not a good idea, and it could cause an international incident that might interfere with my carefully nurtured relationship with the Defense Department. You two will pay most severely if that happens, which they both realize means they'll probably pay with their lives. So the word comes through that there's a panic at the Expo. They're, of course, in Vancouver at this point, or close to it, I believe. So they take off and head there. And, of course, on arriving, they're going to find the Sentinels going up against Mesmero, but Mesmero has taken control of all these human beings. And the Sentinels are not allowed to harm human beings. So they're kind of at a standstill at the moment, which, to be completely honest, it was almost like a good thing, but Mesmero causes this woman to jump. Now, to jump to her death, I don't know. If you look at it, It's high, but it's not massively high. But he's, basically saying, back off or I'm going to kill all these people. At that point, Alpha Flight shows up. And they're coming in hot. Attempting to capture Mesmero may result in more loss of human life, yet we must do something. That's where you're wrong, Sentinels. Yes, we recognize you. American-made mutant hunters who have plagued the X-Men over the years. But this is Canada, Alpha Flight's jurisdiction. The Sentinels seem unimpressed, Vindicator. So we have Vindicator, Aurora, Northstar, and Puck. Now, Puck's like, hey, we're coming in weak because half our team is gone. And we get this edit. Shaman and Snowbird are off seeking pestilence. That's kind of the first we've really heard of it. I mean, they alluded to it last issue. Kind of a weird thing to do without actually us seeing them do that. They probably could have put a page in, or at least a couple panels, letting us see that. But Puck's like, okay, I'm no good against the Sentinels. You take them on. I will deal with Mesmero. So they start going in against them, and they go into defense mode. And they say, superhumans are attacking. And Northstar says, I can understand they're overlooking my sister. Aurora was genetically altered by Walter Lankowski to mask her mutant nature. But why don't the Sentinels react to me as a mutant? Caprice, not now. So he starts coughing. So as Aurora blinds one of them, this one sends out this gas to neutralize the speedster. One actually thinks, though, maybe to his advantage if they knew he was a mutant. It might have been trying to kill him. She sees Northstar go down, takes her attention off the Sentinel, thwaps her, which kind of leaves Vindicator against the Sentinels. Puck has to keep his eyes closed so Mesmero can't take control of him. And he starts using his human, the humans he's controlled, to attack Puck. At this point, Jeffries shows up in, I guess, the recreated Omnijet. And Kara has stowed away. And she's like, I'm not a child. You can't treat me like a kid. I'm Beta Flight now. He's like, yeah, which means you're a hero in training, not a combatant. Besides, I promised your mama I'd look after you. So stay here and pilot the Omnijet. What about you? I've got to figure out how to help. That thing's got Heather, and her suit isn't doing the trick. And so here we do find a limitation of his ability, which is he's too far away. As he puts it, I got to get within spitting distance in order to transmute metal. So he comes up with a rather novel plan. And by the way, this would look great, like if it was done well in a movie. Him flying out and basically pieces of this Sentinel tearing off of it and forming into this flight suit around him before he hits the ground. It looked pretty cool. Basically, he takes out the Sentinel. The Sentinels are unbelievably tough, but if there's any character in the Marvel Universe that can deal with them, it's Madison Jeffries. And, Heather's like, you're amazing. And he kind of starts blushing because he's really got a thing for Heather. So Kara is piloting this thing. I mean, I guess he didn't have much choice, although I would have maybe gone autopilot because I don't know that she's the person you want to leave this kid who's maybe 13 piloting this jet. She's very close to hitting this Sentinel while she's trying to escape from this other one because she's a mutant, and they have detected that mutant nature. And so basically, Jeffries manages to use one Sentinel to take out the other with a hearty yabba dabba doo. She ejects. She's safe at the moment. But Puck is getting just wailed on by all these people that Mesmero is controlling. And she's like, Puck's hurt. Is it my fault? If Puck hadn't been hypnotized, he might have evaded the debris. Mesmero could care less. He's already sending other humans to their deaths to hold the Sentinels at bay. He's as merciless a mind manipulator as my dad, Kilgrave, the Purple Man. Could I ever become that evil? Looks like it may be up to me to take this bozo out. But can my powers override his, or will he just make me take a high dive? What if I just screw up again and people die? There's one Sentinel left. And I like the quandary she's going through. And that's what you do with heroes who are in training. It's a good time to think about those things. Comic books are not just action. You need to have some little philosophy, a little thinking about life. So one left. Jeffries basically uses one of the remnants of a Sentinel to make a missile out of a Sentinel. He figures, well, since it takes the stuff of Sentinels to beat a Sentinel, all right. And so he puts that together. It launches, boom, right through the last Sentinel. It is taken out. And so now we have purple versus lime green as she tries to use her powers against him. She has her eyes closed. All right, so he sends his people after her like, yeah, well, you can't see me, so you're not going to be able to stop me. She takes control of the people he was controlling and tells them to stop. Now, sick him. And so she does manage to override his power. Nobody's ever done that before. Well, turns out she does. And now these guys attack him and kind of hold on to him in time for the police to arrive. But Puck has been severely injured by those blows that he took and by some debris that hit him. We've got to get him to new life, to scramble. And Puck is thinking, Alpha's victorious. And although I detect the leader's concern in Heather's voice, I know that once more my powerlessness has proven a liability to the woman I love. Lord, everything's going dark. What will happen with dear Puck? My favorite Alpha, I must say. All right, so I think a better issue than the last because it didn't have those elements that bugged me last week when we did number 42 of motivation seeming to change from issue to issue. They don't get too heavily into that in this one. We get a nice fight with the Sentinels. I still think the Madison Jeffries power is a little bit too much. And I think when they created it, they hadn't really thought it out of just how powerful this makes him. Lucky he's kind of a good old blue-collar guy who doesn't want to take over the world. Because I'm fairly certain he could, and I don't know who on earth could stop him. At one point, they had him working off of ideas that Roger Box had for machines. And Box could provide the direction, and he could provide the transmutation. Now, he seems to be able to just create whatever he wants to create just by thinking about it, which makes it kind of like a magical wish power. I think they're going to have to work on that over the next few issues. And I believe they will, because the Madison Jeffries that I remember from later issues is a little bit different, maybe a little bit more hemmed in powers-wise. But, it is an issue. And we do get some follow-up to North Star and his problems. His cough, his bleeding, looks like it might be the result of pestilence. What has pestilence done to him? And why didn't the Sentinels detect him as a mutant? Well, we will find out as we continue with this series. Next week, we will be looking at issue number 44. What do you think of this issue, folks? Leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you enjoyed this review, please think about giving it a like, maybe subscribe, maybe share with a friend. You will see at the end of this video a little thing pop up for the Alpha Flight retrospective. If you want to check out past issues, maybe go through the whole thing. You can start at issue number 1 when I reviewed that January 1st. Follow them all the way through. But until then, or until next time, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun. And I will hopefully see you soon. I'm dry. I need to go get a drink. I will hopefully see you soon in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.